Bye. Yay.
Bye.
That was really good.
I apparently can't read.
What was your script? No,
My
we're
favorite
gonna
script?
talk about that.
My favorite
we'll
script
talk
was
about that
definitely
later.
Saucy High School. That was Fel did an amazing job on that. The Sandbox World was really interesting. The reason why I didn't really, it's not that I didn't like it. It's that like it's 35 episodes in. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I was kind of just like, why are we fighting this person? What did he do? What's a Shinigami? I don't really know. And the Duty of a Knight was really funny. Like they were all fantastic scripts.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we had so we started off with a really small bank of scripts, and recently we've had people who have given in their scripts. About three to four scripts have come in since, and it's little by little growing as more people get the courage to bring out their scripts, and there's so many fabulous writers. So thank you to everybody who has given us a script here in Center Stage. We value all of your writing, and we totally appreciate it. And it was awesome for you to kind of see what our members are about here, Quinn, because we have a lot of really, so many people with such great potential, and they come here as a learning experience. Here is in Center Stage is where everybody is pretty much able to use and focus and hone their skills in voice acting, which there's not a lot of places. I feel like voice acting itself is kind of like learning a language, because you have to learn the right cues, the right ways to talk, ways to read, and it's very difficult. I mean, let's piggyback, if you're okay to talk about it. You mentioned that you have a bit of dyslexia, and that must make it very, very difficult for you at times to be able to focus on the right words to say. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like what are some steps you take, because I'm sure so many people have this problem where they jumble up words. Perhaps it's not dyslexia, perhaps it is, or they have anything else that kind of just like it's very hard for them to focus. So what would you say in regards to that?
Well, as far as dealing with dyslexia, I haven't found like a perfect way to deal with it yet. Something I'll usually do, which doesn't really service me well in live reads like this, is take a step back and kind of just, okay, what am I reading? Sometimes I'll even memorize certain lines if I need to, if they're short enough as well, because my memory is horrible. But typically I'll just kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what am I reading? What's the context? What do I need to say? And I'll kind of read it a couple of times just to make sure, I'm not flipping around words. But for instances like this, it sadly doesn't really work. And I hate to say it, but I don't have much tips for it, because it's something that I've really only noticed recently. And initially I thought it was my lisp, which does play a little bit of issue with me kind of stumbling over words. But then I realized, I'm also kind of throwing words in different ways and stuff like that. And you noticed I was like mismatching words and stuff like that throughout the duration of that. It's something that you kind of have to, I guess, learn. There's no real way to fix it, but once you find your method, you'll be good to go.
Nice. And I commend you for that. It is hard. I can only imagine, but I know that it is hard. Let's go ahead and answer some questions real quick that we have, because we got a few ones now. I'm gonna see if people come in. I think this was so let me bring in Sugar. They were with us before. Hey Sugar, what's up? Sugar. Okay. Hey. Oh, so you had a question. You want to go ahead and ask Quinn your question all by yourself?
Oh, okay. Okay. What's the longest project you've been a part of, and the shortest?
Okay, shortest, there's a lot of shortest. I can't really pinpoint it. Some projects will be, like I do a lot of work for localization from things like China and whatnot. Some of my coaches send stuff to me, and, sometimes I book it on my own. And those are literally like a couple lines per character, and it's probably like an hour or two of work. Or I'm being really generous. So that's like shortest, and I don't hear anything back from majority of those. Longest I played, it was one of my first roles I ever booked. It was not paid. It was a role in a audio series called Walk Down Memory Lane. and I think I was part of it for like a year, and then they decided to reboot it recently, and I decided that I'm not getting paid for it. I'm trying to branch out and get mostly paid work.
Yeah.
And you have to keep context of the fact that this was right when I had started. I started around a year ago, actively pursuing voiceover. I have a career. I have a background in theater and whatnot, but I actively started pursuing voiceover last year. So this was like a month or two into me starting voiceover. And I played this character for like 5, 6 episodes maybe. And then they decide to reboot it, and I'm just like, all right, you guys can feel free to find another actor because sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely it's hard sometimes. You start seeing what you're able to do and what you're not able to do anymore. Projects really fit because a project that you start in and finish and then you haven't done it in a while and they come back, perhaps
Yeah.
when they come back you're already in a different zone, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can't handle this project anymore because you have other projects that take precedence over one. So yeah, it feels like as time goes you have to get a little bit more nitpicky with the projects that you
Mhm.
choose, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Sugar, for that question. Do you have any other one for him?
Mm, I do have one more.
Go
All
for it.
right.
And
For
if
it.
you don't mind me asking,
Yeah, go ahead.
so what's the most stressful role that you've had to voice, like, up to date?
The most emotionally taxing one. I'll take stressful as in emotionally taxing. I voiced. I'm gonna try not to cry here because this role is very. I only did it once, but it's very near and dear to me because it's the first time I ever actually cried while behind the microphone in the booth. I was voicing, and it's not a public thing. It's something that a girl was trying to do something for her girlfriend and do their OCs and like make a story and animate it. And I got cast as a gay male character with a lot of insecurities. And would you know, I'm a gay male with a lot of insecurities. Um, and the script really just kind of spoke to me, I guess. It played off a lot of the insecurities I have, and I went like right after recording, I went to the person who wrote the script, the director, and I'm like, holy crap, like you wrote me. Like it was the closest character that I've ever played. That was me, and it was so emotionally taxing. I remember just like afterwards, I like I went and laid down in bed, and I was just like, I had to like completely just reset and everything like that. It was emotionally taxing. Vocal taxing wise, I actually destroyed my voice because I didn't I didn't have proper vocal control when I initially started off. I have no background in singing or anything like that. I can't sing for the life of me. And when I did the first episode of Walk Down Memory Lane as Vederick, you start off in like this really, really maximum security kind of thing, and you're like, you're losing your mind. You have to like I was like yelling, and I did like 15 takes of each line because I was stupid. But yeah, that's the most vocally taxing role that I've done. I got halfway through the script and my voice was destroyed.
Wow. Yeah, and like again, I feel like emotionally taxing characters are some that you never truly forget.
Yeah.
Those are the characters that just stick with you
Oh yeah.
throughout everything because of the fact, especially like you said in your first half, where you're voicing a character that was pretty much you.
Yeah.
And those are I think those are the craziest ones because you don't really know yourself too much. Like there's this I know I read this somewhere where it says if you would see yourself in person, you wouldn't recognize them.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. That's so
it,
weird, but it's
it's
true.
kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing where you're kind of like, holy moly, this is me. This
Yeah.
exactly sounds like me. And so you start finding things about yourself that you probably didn't know before, but through the script it's helping you out. Sugar, thank you so much for those questions. They were really, really great questions. Quinn,
Awesome.
that was a good way to start. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Sugar, for helping us out here, for being with us, for being a member of our Discord. I hope to see you around as the time passes, and have a great night. Okay.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
No,
the awesome
thanks.
questions.
Exactly. Bye. Well, those are really good questions, especially that emotional taxing one. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Quinn, like, wow. I feel so, astonished sometimes by the way that the characters that we portray and we voice end
Yeah.
up being such a big part of our lives, at least for those few weeks or days or hours that we're recording for them. They become
Yeah.
a part of us, and it's
Oh,
this
yeah.
crazy feeling, right?
I do want to
Kind
give
of
some
like-
context. My
Yeah.
apologies for interrupting, but the reason why it stuck with me so much, I had a house fire back in 2015. My entire house gone. Our family all made it out alive. Even the dog, I had to wrestle him and everything like that. He's a good boy, but God, anyways, everybody was crying on the neighbor's lawn, but me. I'm not an emotional person. It takes a lot to get tears out of me. And that's why I've never cried to anything movie related. No, that's not true. Dog's Purpose made me cry. I've never really cried to any, like, for example, I've never cried to any anime. Never. There's been sad scenes, but I've never cried. But just crying over a character it was foreign to me, and that's why really, taking into account the fact that I'm not an emotional person, it's just
Yeah, I get you. And also really crazy that you said that fire thing. So back in 2008 or 9, my house also caught on fire, and we were crying in the neighbor's lawn. So that's
small
really,
world.
yeah, that's happened a lot, but I'm glad now we can share, I guess a bit of a dark memory in our past. Maybe now, like, we can say that there's a good percentage of voice actors who have, their houses caught on fire. Maybe we can say that.
Doesn't
that
seem
was
like
strange. I'm listening and I'm like, oh my god, me
oh my
too.
God, my house burned down too.
Do I need to burn my house down to be a good real voice
Bye,
actor?
Anthony. No.
Hey, I'm gonna go and lighthouse to my fire and burn it all down.
Actually,
be
guys,
part of the cool kids.
just to let everybody know, I'm pretty sure Quinn and I are laughing now, but during that time, it was.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad, not funny.
It was very bad. And crazily enough, I also had to take my dog out of. Oh my god. That's really weird. That's really weird.
Did you wrestle him on the grass of your neighbor's lawn?
No, I did. She was terrified.
But
also for everybody to know too, Quinn and I are very eerily alike too. For the simple fact we were both in Florida, we're hours away from each other. It was the weirdest thing, guys. The weirdest
it's awesome.
things. Okay, it is. Wait, stay tuned, because at some point next year, Quinn and I are going to do a meetup in Orlando. Right, Quinn? We're gonna do we're gonna go to Disney. All right, so let's keep going with the question. Totally went on a tangent about
I warned you, we're gonna go on tangent.
I know you did. He did, guys. So let me bring in I Spam Memes. They have a question for us. Hey, Meme, what's up? Meme?
Oh, hello.
Hey, so you had a question for Quinn.
Uh-huh.
Do you want me to answer it? Do you want me to ask it?
I'll ask it. So, whenever I join in on these things, I usually get pretty shaky. Like, I mean, I've had this. It's probably just a pretty generic problem, but I've looked up guides, and I still get shaky. How do you build up the courage to voice act properly?
I don't want to sound too cliche, but honestly, I'm gonna quote if.
Quinn, we lost you. Are you there? We might have lost Quinn.
Oh.
Oh no! Quinn, where'd you go?
Hello?
There he is.
Oh, hello.
Yes, there
Hello?
you are.
That
You
is so
legend.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
you lagging.
Uh,
It's okay. Try again.
yeah, my internet's really bad. I'm gonna go and quote. And I don't want to sound too cliche because I'll be completely honest. I've never been too nervous.
Whoa. So Quinn is lagging out for us. Quinn. I don't know what's going on. Maybe
know.
it's Discord. I'm not too sure.
Maybe
I feel like it might be
Um,
me.
maybe we
'cause
have him
it
disconnect
happens
and
that-
reconnect if it keeps happening.
Oh, he might have. He's probably refreshing and coming back in. But he's
Yeah.
gonna quote us something. So there's that. He's gonna be quoting something for us
He's
at some
quoting.
point. He's probably restarting. Oh, there he. No. 1 sec. He said one.
What the hell is going
Okay,
on?
there he is. I don't know.
Hello?
I don't know. Yes, we
Let's
hear
see
you.
if this. Let's see if I can get this question answered. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm an antisocial person. And I completely understand. I can't relate to it on the sense of getting shaky when, because the first time I ever got on a theater stage, it was the best I've ever felt. I got on, I had no worries in the world whatsoever, and it's kind of because I was not me. And I think I'm gonna go on a tangent here, but really getting out of your head, realizing that you're not you for a second, because you're not. The character may be like you, but you're not you. When you're the character, you're not you. You're someone else. And I'm gonna kind of just, again, tangent. I'm gonna quote somebody. If you've ever watched How to Be an Online Voice Actor, the 5-part series by a user on YouTube known as Soul Brother Number 3, would you rather embarrass yourself around 1,000 people or one person? Now that might be a little bit. That might be a little bit, not entirely accurate, because if you're in here, you're with a couple of people. But would you rather embarrass yourself around like a huge crowd of people, or would you rather embarrass yourself around a little bit of people? And why I say that is you're learning from it. You're gonna learn. I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry. So as you go on, you are going to learn how to do this. The shaking will stop. It will be something that stops as long as you keep on going. Really, it's all about being in your head. And what is going to sound cliche, but just take a deep breath, realize that, we all want your success. When you're in one of these servers, we all want your success. We all want you to succeed. And in this community, this is the best community I've ever been a part of. And I've been a part of a lot of communities on my time online. We all want to see you succeed. Nobody wants to see you fall. Nobody wants to see you fail. And kind of, it's more or less just working on getting out of your head. Realizing that when you're playing a character, you are not you. Now, some things you can do for that, if you have trouble reading, you can memorize scripts. It's not something everybody has to do, but it might be something you might have to do. That way you can kind of help get out of your head. Because I feel when you memorize a script, you're better able to portray the character and get out of your head. So that's maybe something you could follow. But it's just remember, we all want your success. We all want you to succeed. We don't, I don't know what I'm saying. We all want you to succeed. It's not, nobody's going to laugh at you or anything like that. Nobody's going to, treat you badly if you flub up on a word or flub up on a line. And you're not you in the moment. You're a character, and you don't have to worry about people. Again, tangent.
No, I you know what? I 100,000% agree. So, Meme, I don't think I've seen you here before. And usually, like as I said before in this stream, like this place right here, this Discord is one of the many, but one of the places where you can really hone your skills in voice acting and just give it a try. And I also have been in a lot of communities, but none have been like the voice acting one. And this is a really good place to be. I agree, Quinn. It's a good place. And not only is it a good place to be, but I feel like if you really want to learn and you ask questions within the community, Meme, people will help you. I have gotten DMs of questions, and I love helping people. And because a lot of times when you're helping someone, you also learn things. You know, every day you learn something new. And especially through voice acting, I think every read, every audition, every recording, you learn something new about yourself. I
Mhm.
can show you Quinn and I were talking about this. We were talking about our demo reels. So our demo
Oh
reels
yeah.
were made by the fabulous Tony, and he's probably gonna listen in either today or tomorrow. Like say like, oh my God, it's my two kids. So hey Tony, we're
Hi
talking about
Tony.
you. Um, so we were talking about our first demo reels, and Quinn told me, Yenni, like your first demo reel, I heard you a little bit shaky. And you were talking about that meme. I was super nerve wracked. I had never done this. My parents are completely, well, even though I'm older, I come from a very Hispanic background, and this is not something that a lot of, Hispanic parents think is a good job, or even let alone anything. So it was very difficult for me because I didn't have that confidence that you were questioning him about, like how you got that. You get them through continuously trying and telling yourself that you can do it. Because Tony just finished recording my animation demo reel. It's coming out hopefully in the next few weeks. And if you put side by side my video game and my animation reel that's coming out now, it's a completely different person. I can't even explain it to you in any other way. And I'm pretty sure, Quinn goes through the same things where
Oh yeah.
the Quinn that started voice acting is nowhere
Oh yeah.
the
No.
same as the one that you're speaking to right now, right?
Yeah. No. I was despite the fact that it was a year ago, I was a lot more very like animated, like let's go and do
Yeah.
this instead of something you really, when it comes to acting, especially behind a microphone, you don't want to overcomplicate it. Just especially when you're doing auditions, which is something I still struggle with. I'll spend like 30 minutes doing an audition, and I did that today, and I kind of had to snap myself out of it because I'm just like, no, you don't do this. You just send it out. Within the first couple of seconds, they know if you're the right person for it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And I think making it simple and really just saying, okay, I'm not going to think about how I say it. I'm not going to think about the way it comes out of my mouth. I'm going to think about why it's coming out of my mouth, why I'm saying it, stuff like that.
Very well done.
And it will really help you, that concept alone. Something I've done ever since I started was actually studying how, or like keeping track of how I actually talk, which it helps me translate into reading a voiceover script. It's sometimes it's a little bit detrimental because I talk really, really fast, and it's just one of my insecurities kind of festering out. But what I'll do is I'll use how I talk, and I'll analyze how I talk. I'll also analyze how other people talk and how other people will say certain things and stuff like that. And I'll really just kind of centralize that and put that into my voiceover work and say, okay, how would someone actually say this?
Right. That's it. That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah. Oh God. Meme, do you have any more questions for us?
Just a quick question. So what is like do you have a preference for roles in any kind of voice acting things you do?
Okay, this is really funny because I initially got into this. A lot of people were telling me I have a deep voice for my age. I'm 16, and a lot of people were saying I had a really deep voice for my age, which at the time was 15. So I was thinking, getting into this, I'm going to be doing all the deep male voices. I feel a lot more comfortable doing, the higher pitch male voices. I like doing. This is like where I like to be. This is, this is the range that I like to be in. I just went a little bit higher, in my vocal range. And it makes me feel more comfortable. I don't know why, but that's really my preference. I also like comedy a lot. I'm not a comedic person, but I feel as if I can execute when given comedy to read off of. I don't know. But yeah, no, something that I learned from Chuck Huber, which was one of my coaches at one point, is that you really don't want to be incredibly, like, I want to do this. You don't want to have tunnel vision when it comes to voiceover. Now that's to say, you need to know your limits, first of all. And my limits is I'm not going to do an audiobook because I have dyslexia. I can't do one. I literally can't do one. So that's my limit. I also won't do things for bad rates because that's going to hurt the industry, not just me. But really, you don't want to be selective because you never know what could happen if you get this one small role. If you get like a $200 role, that could become a $2,000 role a couple weeks later down the line when they come back to you and tell you how much they liked your work.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna cut it off because we do have other questions. And
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Meme, so much for those questions. Again, really, really good questions for Quinn. And thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for reading with us. I hope to see you again. And yeah, we'll see you soon, okay? Bye.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Oh, I love it when there's like these really awesome questions that you could really, get nitty and gritty with them. They're so
Yeah.
good. And it looks like our questions just get nittier and grittier. I'm gonna bring in our writer of the week now. Let's see. Oh, hey there, Fel.
Oh, hello. Hello.
The
Can you hear
meme
me?
god of the industry. Hello.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Can you hear me okay?
Hey
Yeah, we can
there.
hear you perfectly.
You have some questions. You have
Yeah,
some
I
questions.
do.
Go ahead.
Oh, first I
knock
just want to
'em
say
out.
that you two are doing great tonight. This has been a great stream.
Oh, thanks.
I love you guys.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's
so so my question, Quinn, for you is what when you're reading a script, what about the writing makes a character interesting to voice?
Okay. Oh gosh, there's a lot that can go into writing. I actually and this is completely unrelated. I wanted to be a writer before I was ever pursuing acting. So, what makes a character interesting? Well, first of all, I don't like one-dimensional characters. Characters that are just like, I'm gonna do this because this, or like, there's always that trope in anime where it's like, I'm doing this because my father died or something like that. I hate that. It's like you do everything because of one thing that happened. It's like, I get it, it's motivation, but like there needs to be more dimensions to a character. So multi-dimensional characters. As far as reading a script goes, I like scripts that are written the way you would say something instead of how you would read something. When you're doing a lot of narration work, it's a lot of business words, and everything's kind of like really, really professionally written, and it's like how you would write something instead of how you would say something. And a lot of people who write scripts fall into that category when it comes to even character work. A lot of people will write things like, they'll write long-winded sentences that you can't say in one breath. Or they'll write sentences that are really, really complex when you could just say, yeah, this, and this. They'll say this, da. It makes it easier, but not only that, it makes it more fun because you actually feel like the character. When you overcomplicate something, it really comes back to the whole idea of overcomplication is just stupid. I don't like overcomplication. I like it just straightforward. So when you overcomplicate something, it really makes it unfun to do. And I actually had something, I'm not going to say the name, of course, but I had something recently that I really just did not like doing because it was so overly complicated and it was long-winded. Everything was long-winded. And I'm just like, why? Just, you could say this in a different way. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's really where I land.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. When do you find you're having the most like fun when you're reading a script?
Comedy.
Yeah.
I love comedic scripts. When I first got into this, I wanted to do abridgments, and I actually stopped doing abridgments of my own the second I realized that they're not good for resumes. But I got into this, and I started working with my friend Zach on writing abridgments, and oh my god, comedy is awesome. Like comedic scripts are my favorite. I sometimes I'll enjoy a character enough to like a bad script. But that's very rare. I specifically when it comes to a character, I don't know if this was about characters. I'm lost. Scripts that are very complex and stupid and stuff like that. Like they overcomplicate certain statements or whatever. Those scripts are stupid.
Yeah. So and we were also talking about afterwards. I think that's when Anthony cut off scripts. If it's very hard for the writer because if the writer has to be able to connect with the voice actor to then have the voice actor connect with the audience. So Fel and I and we're talking about that and how it's such an integral thing, like the whole space of voice acting in general. The voice acting community, and a lot of people don't realize this, it's not just about voice actors because a voice actor is nothing without a script. And I feel like It's
Yeah.
definitely true. And a script is nothing without a writer.
Mhm.
And a show is nothing without a director, and it just goes on. And show is also not nothing without animators and so many creators.
loop.
Yes, it is. It's a completely endless loop of different things. And again, Fel, thank you so much for giving us that script that we use. We were talking, Quinn and I were talking about it. When are you gonna do the second part? Because I know it's
Oh, yeah.
to be continued.
Is it worth doing a
Oh
second
yeah,
part?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I-
I mean, this was our first night reading it, and everybody seemed to like it. So I applaud you, man. That's awesome.
what I was waiting for. I was hoping people liked this high school. I was hoping they wanted to see more of Ketchup Heinz and his friends barbecue,
so hard.
mustard, and hot.
I remember.
So
remember when you sent me that, and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? It was really, really good. And
Yeah.
again, I don't know if people had heard this part too, but Fel and I had gone back and forth because when you send a script through CenterStage, it goes through the team, and it's a lot of hard work to really make a script reachable to all ages. And it's hard, but it's not impossible. And you can see that by Fel. We have also a few others that have given us scripts, and all of them have done such a fabulous job. And it's honestly just a crazy, and we're very grateful for you as well as all the other writers that have been sending us scripts. So thank you so much for helping CenterStage grow. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Fel. We really
Yeah, thanks,
appreciate
you
it. Thank
guys.
you for kind of jamming our stream.
yeah, anytime.
Just kidding.
Anytime you need something.
We blame you, even though it's not
All
really
right.
your fault.
I'll take the blame.
Yeah,
I like the
We're
blame.
blaming you a little bit. All right.
All right.
Thanks,
You guys have a
Fel.
good
We'll
night.
talk to you soon.
Talk-
Bye. Oh, so sweet. I love it. All right. So let's go on to our next question. Just to let everybody know on the stream, I don't answer questions that just make no sense. So please don't ask any ridiculous questions. As well as if your question doesn't get answered, it's probably because it's already been answered throughout the stream itself. So please don't get angry. And our next guest is going to be a Jedi. Let me bring her. All right. Hey, Jedi. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so Quinn, real quick, let me tell you about Jedi. So, Jedi and I love script reading together. For some reason, we're always together in some script reads. And it's really nice. And she has been with us for a while. So
That's
thank you so
awesome.
much for being a pretty, you're just always here. So thank you for
Yes.
for being a member. Yes, thank you so
I'm
much.
always here.
All right,
always watching.
and go ahead and ask your question, Quinn. We're excited.
Alrighty, so my first question, haha, I have a list. I know you have from being on Twitter and seeing you talk about stuff in like the Tower of God, since you're in Tower of God.
Yep.
Boneheads, yes. You have a lot of experience with microphones and audio stuff. So my question is, judging on what you can hear right now, does this seem like a decent fit for my voice? I use a
Oh, yeah.
2035 and a PreSonus Audio Box i1.
Yeah, this sounds really good for your voice. So what's it called? I used the AT2035 before I ventured into the Neumanns and the Sennheisers and all that, and the AT2035 is my personal favorite budget mic that I've used. So yeah, it does sound good. Sorry, I read something and yeah.
All right, and so second question is, what is your like dream fantasy role? Like if you
Oh,
could be in
boy.
anything, what would you want to be in, or who would you want to play?
Oh, gosh, I don't really have one actually. And this might be strange. I'd want to voice act with Todd Haberkorn because that would kind of be going full circle. He's the person that I looked at and still look up to, as in like, he's the one that I saw and I was like, I can do that.
I love Todd.
Yeah, Todd's awesome. But my dream as far as voiceover goes is to retire my stepdad.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so
Mhm.
cool. That's so cool. And then, what is your favorite role to date that you've done yourself?
Favorite role to date would have to be the one that made me cry. It was just,
Wow!
yeah, that role was something else. That was completely something else. But yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And then last one is, do you have a routine for preparing to record or read a script? And if so, what do you do?
Oh gosh, I wish I had a webcam in here. I did a video about this on. I did a video about this on my Twitter. What I do, I have a pencil right next to me. Okay.
Yep.
And what I'll do, because I struggle with enunciation. That's one of my, next to the dyslexia, that's probably the biggest thing that I have. I also struggle with talking fast, and you can probably hear that now. But
You're good.
enunciation is my number two enemy. And it's, I'm not going to make excuses, but it mainly comes from the fact that I was born with a lisp. I don't know if you're born with those, but I got some speech therapy. Okay. I got some speech therapy, and then, but it's still there. So what I'll do, and sometimes I'll do this as well during sessions and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'll put the pencil in my mouth, and it will constrict my muscles in my mouth in a way that makes it so that I have to work harder to say something. So I'll go through a script or do some tongue twisters, and when I'm done, I'll be much better with enunciation. And it really only takes like a couple of like read-throughs. Like if I'm struggling to get past something, there's a lot of things that twist me up as far as tongue twisters go. I'll literally just put the pencil in my mouth, and it will, I'll do it a couple times with the pencil in my mouth. Does not matter if I make it through all the way without stumbling. But it always seems to work when I take the pencil out of my mouth.
That's awesome. I've never heard of that. That's really cool. All right, so I think that's all I've got tonight. So
awesome.
Quick and easy.
Oh, thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about these questions.
Yes.
They're really, I love questions so much, and I love them. They're good questions that our guests can actually, relate to and talk about fully. And the routine was a really big thing. I think routines are so important, especially even from from when you're a kid. Routines make life work. Having just a bit of a mess is not only, not organized, but it's also very stressful on the on the people themselves. And having a routine, like getting up, brushing teeth, go to work, come back, or work or school, come back, record, it helps the process. Because sometimes I feel like people are do something out of their routine and they're really exhausted that day. It's because your routine is your routine. You're used to it. So something new, I remember when I first started voice acting, as I'm sure many of you guys did, start first voice acting, it was exhausting. You're like, wow, like it takes a lot out of me. And then you start getting used to it. And what used to exhaust, a recording that was like 3 minutes long used to record you. Now a recording that's 3 hours long. Okay, that, exhausts you.
That is
a 3-hour recording. But it takes time to get there. I feel like just like voice acting is learning a new language. I also feel like voice acting is a sport on its own. And I say this all the time about math. I say this about schoolwork. I say this about it's kind of like a sport, because you need to train yourself. You need to train yourself how to do your multiplication tables. You need to train yourself how to throw a football, and you need to train yourself on how to work your voice. And it's it's a key part of helping you become something more than what you are, or than what you start with, which as a great example, us three here, we pack a punch. And I think it's really, really amazing to see members in this community grow. And it's just no one who, especially any guest that comes here, like Quinn, for everybody listening, none of it has been easy for any of these guests. And Quinn, my friend, can amend to that. It's never been easy. There are so many turmoils that you go through, so many bumps in the roads, but that's what makes you an excellent voice actor. And through routine, that guides you towards that path. So it was a really good question. I totally loved it, very much so.
Oh, good.
Also, Quinn, can you go again and repeat your setup for your voice acting, like the setup that you have? Because I do have other questions asking about setup, so let me just have you restate it.
First of all, completely overkill. Don't need it. You can get away with a closet with nice amounts of clothes and an 80-20-35, 80-20-20, whatever. You can really get away with that as long as it's a decent microphone. I got really lucky. I fully funded this on my own. I don't want. I would assume that some people are gonna, after hearing this, are gonna say, "Oh well, your mom and dad must be like really rich." No, stop it, please. So well, what you're hearing me through right now is a Sennheiser MKH 416 shotgun microphone, and this is the microphone that I found to work best for me. It really all comes up to personal preference. So what I have next, which I got very cheap, I have $700 worth of plugins through this thing, and it is called an Apollo Twin USB. It works for Windows. And what I can do with this is I can do this. I can mess around with my stuff. I can mess around with it on the point right now. So I just put it through. Gosh, I don't have the thing set up properly. But if I want to, I can go ahead and go into modulation, reverb. Let's do
Oh, we lost you in reverb. Come back.
No.
I don't have
Back
that
from
one
reverb.
apparently. Try. I think,
believe you,
I think
we'll
it's this one. Yeah. This one. Okay, so like you can put effects on your voice like right as you want to. You can do it in post. You can do it whenever. But this thing is an absolute beast. I fully recommend if you can pick up an Apollo Twin USB, which does support XLR. You definitely should get it. I should probably turn off the reverb. So the oh, and as well, it comes with numerous different preamps. If I click this on, can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's a it's like a software version of like a really good tube preamp. I think it's like a Neve something or other.
Nice.
So anyways, what really matters is your acoustic space. If you have a closet, it's not gonna, it's not gonna do like everything. It's not gonna be completely dead, but you really need to know about acoustics, because what a listener will hear first, surprisingly, is room first, signal processing next, which is my interface, and then the microphone. Microphone is the least important part of it. And a lot of people go out and buy TLM 103s, which I've had before, does not work for my voice. A lot of people will go out and buy a TLM 103, and they'll send it through their Scarlett 2i2. Not that the Scarlett's bad, but you're not getting the full length of what the TLM 103 has to offer. If you're looking to go full out, I recommend Owens Corning 703 fiberglass. It's rigid fiberglass, wrap it in burlap. Remember to get the 4-inch panels, especially if you're a male, because 2-inch panels, 3-inch panels, they don't fully absorb every part of your voice, like the deeper portions. So like if I was in 2-inch panels, if this room was entirely filled with 2-inch panels, I'd be reverberating to shit. So yeah,
Oh dear.
that's my little spiel about everything. And Orlex sucks. Orlex sucks. Don't they suck. Stop.
Nice. Thank you for that. And Jedi, thank you for your very, very well done little list of questions.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And also thank you for just being a
Yes.
great member. You're always here. Your attendance rocks, and we really value you as well as every other human that is here on the center stage. So thank you so much, and we'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon. Okay.
Bye, Yenni. Bye.
Oh, okay. I sometimes Quinn, my problem is sometimes I bring people in and they're like mid-sentence, and sometimes I kick them out and they're mid-sentence. It makes me feel really bad. It does.
Aw.
Like, I want everybody to know I'm so sorry, but like we are on a time constraint
Yeah.
to kind of sometimes work with what I've got. So I do have a next one. I know you kind of went through this, but these are questions that we do get asked quite often, and I feel like
Okay.
there's always a new way to answer it.
Mhm.
And it's still pretty good. So let me bring this person in. Hey, me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I has joined the CenterStage Live.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, do you want to go ahead and tell us your question for Quinn?
The first one that I did earlier, or the other one?
You'll be voicing a character for.
Oh yes. So
You
my
can ask as many
friend.
questions as you want.
Okay.
Time constraint that we have, yes.
Okay. That's fair. My friend has offered me a part in a little voice acting project of his, and it is the first time that I'm going to be doing something like that, and I'm a little bit nervous. So
Ah.
I was just wondering if you had any tips for first time people who are new to
Okay.
this kind of thing and how to kind of deal with nerves.
Well, the first time I read it, I was somewhat insecure when I first voice acted. Yeah, I was age 14, 2016. And I was not too good. But just know that, again, as I said before, everybody wants your success. Nobody wants you to fail, especially if it's a friend of yours that you're working with. Everybody wants your success. Nobody wants you to fail. Just take a deep breath when you go into it. If you notice you're,
Okay.
going a little bit too fast, if you notice you're kind of stumbling, just sit back, take a very deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. I can do this. I'm perfectly fine. Nobody's against me in this world. Nobody's trying to, nobody's out to get me. Nobody's here to beat me down. Everybody wants me to succeed, and I feel as if having that constantly go through your brain, um it might it probably will help you out in the long run. But just don't overthink it. It's harder said than done. Definitely. But try your best not to overthink it. I still overthink things all the time. It's just human nature. But no, you'll do great. I have confidence in you, and I'd love to hear it once it's up. Feel free to send it to me. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll be sure to.
Nice.
Okay,
what
and-
other question?
Oh, sorry. My other question was to do with you talking about not liking characters that are one-dimensional. And as a hobby writer myself, I have that playing in the back of my mind as well. So I was just wondering, how would you go about preventing that?
Well, there's things I can do as a voice actor to add dimension to the character, and it seems simple, but on the surface it seems simple, but it's something that I actually learned from one of my coaches, David Rosenthal. And what you can do if you get a one-dimensional character that's just, I want to do this, I want to do this, there's ways that you can read it to make it more three-dimensional, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the writing. I will go over what the three ways are. So, or I only remember two. Shoot, I'd have to dig up my notes. So I'll go over the two that I remember. There's another one, and if I think about it, I can. So what you can do is you can vary in the way you. This is all about how you read. So you can vary in speed. Like you can start out talking really kind of slow and just like this, and then you can kind of halfway through a sentence you'll kind of start to speed up a little bit, and that can add a little bit of dimension to a character. As well, you can take liberty of making a character, if a character needs to be really really quiet, but randomly you can, or not randomly, but in a timely manner you can kind of raise the voice of the character just a little bit and make it, you can vary between being a little bit quieter and being a little bit louder. You can do stuff like that. As far as not making a character one-dimensional, I don't really know what you can do. I'm not a writer. I want it to be one, but I'm not one.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what you shouldn't do. Having one general motivation. I think this is where a lot of anime protagonists, the idea of an anime protagonist is one-dimensional. You killed my father. You killed my family. Something like that. You killed someone who I care about. Now I want to do something that will help me, I guess, live my life best for them or whatever. That's a trope that a lot of people fall into with writing, especially when it comes to if you have a background of watching a lot of anime. So you really want to establish more than one motivation, because everybody has motivation for doing something. Hell, I have motivation for picking up this Coke can that you can't hear me picking up right now, and maybe I want to drink it. Like, you want multiple different motivations. You don't want everything the character does be because of one thing. You want the character to have, a deep backstory. You want the character to, and the backstory has to pertain to why the character does what the character does. Okay. So like it wouldn't make sense if a character, hold on one sec. Sorry. Sorry. So, if a character, just has one general motivation for everything, like you killed my father, I'm picking up this Coke can because you killed my father. No, that doesn't make sense. Like you definitely have to add dimension. You really have to think about a character and what you can do to add dimensions to the character. Again, I'm not a writer, but I can kind of, if you give me a script, I can pick out like, hey, this is really not an ideal thing for me personally. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Oh yeah,
No
thank you
problem.
so much for coming to this and asking us questions.
That's okay.
Really thank you so much. And I haven't seen you here before, so I hope I see you again. It was really nice
Definitely,
meeting
yes.
you, and thank you again. Have a good
Awesome,
night,
thank
okay?
you.
Bye. So Quinn, I
Yes.
know. Stop laughing. I know. I cut them off. It's a
You
problem.
gotta re-
But I have to get. We're at 10:54. We have one question left.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and answer it, and then we can say our goodbyes. So here, hey Phoebe, what's up?
He's muted.
Oh, he's muted. Oh yeah,
Oof.
he is. Phoebe, are you coming out? All right. Bye. Okay. So I guess I can ask the question for him if you want to answer it. Says, what was it like working with
FeebTube
Phantoms?
said oof.
Okay, so I never knew that fandom was actually a big thing. Apparently they have like millions of people that go to fandom, and like my mom loves to, she's typical mom. She likes to, like, oh, my son's doing this, da 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 da, and I'm like, Mom, you're embarrassing me, and she's like, oh, but I love you, and I'm like, Mom, no, stop, please. But anyways, so she started telling people about it, because she tells everybody about everything that I do, apparently. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, I always go on fandom. Oh my God. And I'm like, I never knew that fandom was such a big thing. As far as working with them goes, there was a really nice guy named Brett. I got cast through voices.com to do a 3-part Marvel series. And that was an absolute blast for me. I love Marvel. I love the MCU. Spider-Man is my favorite character. He's a lot of me comes from what I learned from Spider-Man when I was younger.
I mean, we know you're a big Spidey fan.
Oh yeah.
On the on all of the Spidey pics that you take.
Oh yeah. Hey, I thought I looked cute. This guy's aiming a gun at me, but I thought I looked cute, so I'm just gonna post this. Oh.
I love it.
So, nevertheless, though,
FeebTube said
yeah,
oof,
no,
oof,
the
oof.
MCU, it really, I feel as if I got the role, I got cast because they wanted somebody who was actually genuinely interested in the MCU. And I went into it, I'm like, oh, wow, this is really cool. Learning about different things about the MCU. I learned a little bit about the MCU as well, because I've never really liked, like things like, what's it called? I've never really liked Guardians of the Galaxy, but I learned a little bit about them. So as far as working with him goes, it was very just kind of straightforward. Like they said, all right, we need turnaround time. I actually was not, I got the turnaround time, but they wanted it, like they scheduled me to turn it in by the 1st of August, but they wanted it in by July 31st if I could. And I was out the entire day. And I got home and I got cast. I remember it was the first time I ever got cast on voices.com. And I was like, oh shit, they want me to do this now. So I stayed up until like 3 or 4 a.m. doing it. And I actually recorded it twice. I did 2 takes, and one was more over the top, and the other was more, just very laid back and kind of like, yeah, this is the MCU, stuff like that. But as far as everything like that goes, I recorded it twice because I messed up the first time and I didn't want to cause any issues for them. But it was very straightforward. I just sent it to them, no direction whatsoever as far as, them sitting in and listening to me. Because my dyslexia was an absolute, because I recorded 10 minutes of script in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, it was an absolutely amazing experience. And it's awesome to have on my resume. It was a lot of fun. I got paid really decent money for just getting to talk about the MCU. It was a lot of fun.
And you know what else is a lot of fun?
Huh?
Having you here on Center Stage.
Oh, that was such a good transition. I applaud you for that one.
Right?
That was so good.
Those are hook points.
That
right
was
there.
so good. That was so
It is
good. Like that was
fun.
amazing. That was great.
It's
was
very, very
great.
fun. Very true. It's not just a hook. It was very true. It was an amazing time with you. As everybody here can see, Quinn and I love talking to each other all the time. And
Yes.
I love having you here on Center Stage. Thank you so much for doing me this favor. Just so everybody knows, I literally grabbed Quinn last week and I was like, Quinn, please do this. And he's like, yeah. So I really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know we will be seeing each other soon.
Definitely.
Whenever you want to come on Center Stage, I will love to have you. And perhaps we might have you in December, but that's a secret for everybody listening. But besides that, Quinn, you are an amazing voice actor. You are a greater friend.
Thank you, Yenni.
You are such a no, it's definitely true. You help our community so much, and you do so much for us. And you know, it's been a blessing having you here. I hope to see you again on Center Stage. I hope to see you around, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And I will give you the final say. Whatever you want to say, you want to say your goodbye, please do. Any last minute words?
I like Coca-Cola. No.
There you go.
If you want to book me, my website is quinnoquinn.com. It's just Quinn O Quinn, Quinn OQUINN. Yes, that's my name. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I have two Twitters. My personal Twitter is Quinn O Quinn, like OH Quinn, like. And then my my voice acting Twitter, as far as like I'll give some voice acting tips. I'll give talk about just some random voice acting things here and there. Is Quinn VO Quinn. And my mom came up with that one.
If you hear the typing, it's me going, ah. So I just finished placing it on a hashtag open mic night channel for everybody who wants to hear. Again, Quinn, thank you so much. And Anthony, thank you for streaming. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful half-part stream and then another part stream. That's showbiz, guys. That's showbiz. And real quick, thank you all for listening. And with that said, hey, Quinn, help me say goodbye. Bye, guys.
Bye. Goodbye.